I'm going to start with welcome page. I already prepared the basic code. This code is going to be improved and updated as I go along. So 3 blocks for the screen. First is a welcome to Wisdom Box. Pretty simple. Second block includes Wisdom Box's loading and progress bar, as well as those 3 dots, which I'm going to animate using animated APIs. I'm not using a third-party library because this is pure JavaScript. There is no need for it. And at the bottom, there is a enjoy word, which is going to show up once progress bar reaches the end, and the footer. At the top of welcome page file, I've created simple animated progress bar component, which is based on animated API. The way it works, I set initial value to 0, then change it with animated API to 1, and interpolate that value to width and to color. I will launch my program on, I believe it's an X6 simulator from Android Studio, and see how it works. Okay, progress bar is going, but it stretches the progress bar. Okay, this is happening because I did not set the width of the parent container. Once I fix it, it's gonna stay put. Let's see. But now the progress bar is sticking beyond container. And this is happening because uh, I set the borders for the parent container, so we just need to accommodate for those. Okay, now it looks good, but I have another problem. When I change the screen orientation, the width of the progress bar doesn't resize automatically. And the reason it's happening because dimensions run only on the application load, but I need to add event listener for the screen change to recalculate it every time when the screen position changes. Interesting difference between Android application and React Native application is in the Android application, each screen is represented with separate activity, and each activity has its own lifecycle methods. And normally, when orientation of the screen changes, activity destroyed and then recreated. There are the ways to pass variables, so when activity is recreated, it can be exactly the same as it was before. Now, with a React Native application, activity is never destroyed. In fact, whole application, no matter how many screens it has, works on one particular activity. Just something to keep in mind because it might be important when creating more complicated applications. In the next step, I'm going to add a listener to dimensions, so it will automatically recalculate height and width depending on screen position. I will place it in a parent component, app wrapper, so this information can be used throughout the application. I will pass this information using props to welcome page and to animated progress bar. By the way, the link to article which describes on how to create this listener is below my video. Let's see what happens. Now, the next thing that's left to do is to animate 3 dots standing behind Wisdom Box's loading. It's not needed, but it's simple to do, and I want to do it. To create pulsing dots, I'm still going to be using help of animated API. The way I approached it, I used 3 animated views that I placed in sequence and animated them with delay. And that seems to be working just fine for this project. Another thing, when progress bar reaches the end, I want to hide Wisdom Box's loading and the pulsing dots, and this is how I do it. And I give 1 second timeout to launch the next page. Another thing, I placed all of the pieces of this page in one file. This is just for my personal convenience, so I don't have to create every particular component file for each component. All components are in place and everything works as intended. When I change orientation of screen, progress bar correctly resizes and resets, and the pulsing dots are pulsing. The only reason why it goes so slow is because I've changed timing for animated progress bar, but it will be changed back. That concludes welcome page. I want to introduce few corrections to this video. One of those, I believe, in version 0.63, React Native introduced new hook. It's called use window dimensions, and it does everything what this custom hook that we've built, or I have built earlier, is doing. And it simplifies it. It basically supplied with React Native. And the second, the correct way to use animated API with functional component is to wrap it with useRef. This component will be modified as I go, and the correct usage of animated API will be reflected. This is the way this component looks on the final stages. So I am using the useRef for animated API. I added pulsing dots, so also using useref for animated API, and I have changed the footer on the bottom of welcome page so it reflects the year I'm modifying it, this application.